Welcome to the TMZ podcast. I'm Charlie Neff.
And I'm Brendan Geoffrion.
Brendon, thank you for filling in for Charlie Cotton.
Of course. It's great to be. It's a busy news day.
I know. So Brendon works on the news desk with me. We're both reporters. Brendon has an amazing background.
My God.
We first worked at TMZ together, in 2013.
Forever ago.
And then Brendon left, went to Entertainment Tonight, got a bunch of Emmys. I'm so jealous. He literally has a big stand of all his trophies. And now he's back here crushing it. Well, he's been back here for a few years.
Gosh, thanks for the plug. I gotta hire you as my agent, Charlie.
I know. Give me that paycheck. Got a lot of stories today, like Brendon mentioned. It has been a busy morning for us. Multiple arrests have been made in connection with Matthew Perry's ketamine death, so we'll get into that. Then we'll get into Blake Lively. She made a reporter want to quit after a very cringy interview. We'll play that for you. And then we'll get into Britney Spears, her childhood home that's currently for sale. Well, the current owner is inviting the biopic to come and film. It's Brendon's
pretty
story.
Exciting.
And then lastly, we have a special guest today in connection with the Britney Spears biopic. So, stay tuned for that. All right, starting off with the multiple arrests that were made in connection with Matthew Perry's death. We're told multiple arrests, and including at least one doctor, have been made. Law enforcement agencies, including the DEA, U.S. Postal Service, and LAPD, have executed search warrants and seized electronic devices to determine who supplied Perry with ketamine. Here are the people that were arrested. 2 medical doctors, Perry's live-in assistant, and someone referred to as the ketamine queen have all been charged with illegally conspiring to provide the drug to Matthew. Authorities say 5 defendants all knew that Matthew was in the throes of addiction from September to October in 2023, but cared more about making money off of him than his well-being. Remember, we broke this story back in last October?
Right.
That he had appeared to drown in his jacuzzi. We found out later he had a very high level of ketamine in his system, which he had talked about previously, saying that that's what he was using to kind of stay off of drugs, and he was a known addict, and so that's what he was using to kind of stay off of that.
And allegedly had been sober at the time of his death. Well,
Exactly.
That's what he was publicly portraying.
Exactly.
It's sad,
Yeah.
but it seems like we're about to really get some closure and
Big breakthrough on
a
it.
huge breakthrough on this case.
Another really interesting thing is authorities obtained a search warrant for Brooke Mueller. You remember this name? This is Charlie Sheen's ex. She has a couple kids with Charlie Sheen too. She had been in treatment with Matthew, but she is not connected to the arrests. However, like we mentioned, there was a search warrant. The investigation uncovered other celebrities involved in the Hollywood drug scene as well. And, obviously these arrests kind of highlight the crackdown on doctors and dealers illegally pushing drugs with a focus on preventing tragedies like Matthew and other stars who have died too soon.
And then we were told from police sources a month or so ago that Brooke was cleared, that they had, obtained these warrants, which they do in any kind of investigation. I'm sure there was a handful of people that worked very closely with Matthew, that were closely related to him, maybe even family, that they got search warrants for. But whatever they went through on Brooke's devices or whatever they were searching, whether it was her property, from what we've been told now, she's not a part of
the arrest.
Yeah. Correct.
All right, moving on to Blake Lively. In light of all this feud that's been unlocked between her and her co-star, Justin Baldoni, they were both on the movie It Ends With Us. A lot of people are taking sides in this feud, but ever since that news has been out there, people are unearthing old interviews of Blake Lively where she appears kind of mean, like a mean girl. And so there's this one interview that resurfaced from 2016. There was a reporter named Kirsty Flaw, and she was interviewing Blake and her co-star about the movie Cafe Society, and it was very cringy. Here's a little bit of the clip.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
So, yeah, super cringy. The reporter, by the way, was not pregnant. And so when she said to her, "Oh, your little bump," there's no baby bump there. But right before this interview happened, just days before, the news broke that Blake was pregnant and expecting with her second child, Inez. So the news was out that Blake was expecting, and so that's why the reporter made the comment. But
it's not like, from a reporter standpoint and doing these interviews and having worked at outlets where your job is to get sound bites about things like this.
Right.
You're expecting a baby, you're hoping. It's like a light way of just kind of hoping she says, something cute about, oh my God, we're so excited. Ryan and I are so excited to have a baby, or this or that.
It's so easy.
It was
so
the
easy
easiest thing. She could have given a very simple response, but I was like reading, we've been obviously following the story for several days now, just the whole drama on set and everything. And I was like reading through comments on social media last night, and people are not siding with Blake in this whole situation.
Not at all. Lots of Team Justin out there.
They're actually turning on her after they saw this interview. They were kind of like, man, maybe she is like a mean girl, or not the nicest person. This interview definitely doesn't help her right now.
Yeah, and there was another interview I saw that also surfaced where a reporter, because the movie that she's starring in with Justin is about domestic violence. It is like a love story, with a couple men, but it's ultimately, the theme of it is domestic violence. And so a reporter had asked Blake, if someone saw the movie and was touched by the movie, they came up to you, wanted to talk to you about domestic violence, what would you say? Very easy opportunity to be like, I would ask them if they're okay, or anything like that. Instead, she goes, well, are they a stalker? Do they want my address? Do they want my social security?
Not the
And
response.
it's like, oh no, that is not it.
That's not it. And now I think Blake is in a little bit of a crisis situation, in the sense that, just the other day we saw her go on her social media and she was posting, all this background. And if you're a domestic violence survivor, or if you're a current victim going through domestic violence, this is how you can seek help. So I think she's doing a little bit of catch up, but I think it might be a little bit too late. Yeah.
And if you guys want to know more about the story, we broke a story on the website. Actually, Brendon did. Good job, Brendon.
Thank you.
Basically saying that one of the things that was kind of the issue between Justin and Blake is that allegedly Justin had asked about Blake's weight because they had a scene where he's supposed to lift her up in the air, but he has like a history of back problems. So before they had the scene, he asked the trainer about her weight because he wanted to see how he could train to make sure he doesn't have another back injury. Well, that got back to Blake. She thought it was kind of a weight shaming comment.
The other thing we know from sources who were there and have heard this directly is that Blake allegedly has complained to people in her inner circle or friends that she felt during a kissing scene with Justin, and I believe there was several during the movie, but during at least one of them, she felt that from Justin's side, the kiss lingered a little bit too longer than it should have, and felt maybe he was crossing a boundary. In Justin's defense there, though, he could say, I'm the director. And, when you're filming a movie or when you're filming these things, sometimes you'll hold the shot. Yeah. So in post-production, when they're editing together the film, if they needed to run a little bit longer, you kind of hold the kiss or whatever.
Right.
That could easily be Justin's defense in this situation.
Right. And it's
you're
kind
an
of
actor.
Confusing because, like, in a way, she's like offended that maybe he didn't like her weight, but then also in the same breath, it's like, oh, but he wanted to kiss me really long. It's kind of like conflicting a little bit.
She's acting like he was trying to get with her on a romantic level.
Right.
Like,
in
real life.
Married, and she's
yes,
married.
And very happily married. So it doesn't make sense.
All right, moving on. Brendon, this was your story too. Wow, we're just doing all the stories.
Oh my.
Actually, we kind of collabed on this.
Yeah, we collabed on this. So Britney's house, we know that Britney's former home, the Spears former home, Spears family former home in Kentwood, Louisiana, it's been on the market for quite some time now, for well over $1 million. Totally get it. The owner wants that money. She knows the history of the house. In fact, we'd reported when we broke the story that the home was for sale, that there was like actual Britney
writing.
artifacts kind of left behind. So the house has history to it. Well, obviously the news came out a couple weeks ago that Universal Pictures was working on this Britney Spears biopic. So of course, Charlie and I made some calls to people in Kentwood and just kind of got a reaction. We were curious, like, you called the mayor and
Yeah.
people in town. Would you
They-
guys welcome the big
They want
movie
the
studio in
there.
town?
Yep,
They're ready.
They're working on a new museum, but also the owner would allow
Yeah,
filming.
yeah. So the owner, she's this female who doesn't want to be named, but we've spoken to her real estate agent who said, she's 100% open to have Universal come in, film the house. She would move out of the house if they needed it for several days. A little funny catch that I thought here was that she'd want to be compensated, which I get. She's like, massive
fair.
movie studio coming in.
Big
You better
budget.
pay me to get out of my house and
Totally.
use the house. But yeah, I mean, they are all for it. They
And
are
you know
all
what?
for it in
They
Kentwood.
should film at like these actual places because it makes the movie so much more realistic.
Mhm.
Look, it's obviously acting and stuff, but it is based on her real life and her book. And a lot of that covers her childhood. So
Right.
it would make a lot of sense to do it at her actual hometown, her actual house.
Just feels
That'd be
more
good.
authentic. Makes it feel fully real.
And we know Britney is kind of going to be involved in the movie. I can't imagine Britney back at her old house if they do film there.
And it makes you wonder, though, would she actually go back? Because obviously we know with her family, like in the history of her with her family,
Right. Wasn't so
were
great.
were there bad memories from that
Yeah.
house? Would it bring back like almost like trauma to her?
Yeah.
Would she even want to revisit that? We don't
Very true.
we don't know. We've asked people close to Britney, and they said the project's so early on
Yeah.
in development that she doesn't even know who should want to play her. She doesn't know who should want to cast for her role. So we have to see if this project even ends up going all the way through.
All right, for our Today in News segment, we have a special guest who has over 1 million followers on TikTok, known for her spitting image of pop icon Britney Spears. Welcome, Allegra DuVal. Woo-hoo!
Hi, Allegra.
Hey, Allegra.
Hi.
Oh my
Hi,
gosh.
guys.
The toxic outfit. I'm dying. You look just like Britney Spears.
Did you choose this outfit for
you.
a certain reason today, or was this just the one that you thought would work for this interview?
I chose this one because I feel like this is kind of one of her most iconic outfits.
Definitely.
Granted, like this is from her earlier career and a music video, so I think most people have seen this outfit.
I love it.
So just to give
Yeah.
some people a background about you, I've seen you on TikTok, like you do so many great Britney impressions, but how did you become a Britney impersonator?
Well, so I actually grew up on stage performing my whole life, just like Britney did. My mother was a professional dancer, dancing at Radio City Music Hall in the 1970s. She was in Hollywood. She was in a bunch of movies like Grease 2 and Under the Rainbow and Blade Runner. And I actually grew up in her dance school. So I grew
Aw.
up dancing and performing. I started teaching dance at 13. And I've always been told throughout my life that I look like Britney, which I was always like, oh my gosh, no, I don't. Like, that's Britney Spears of all people. Like, I don't see it. But over the years, I kind of was like, I kind of see it now. And I got the opportunity to perform as Britney at Denver Pride Fest in 2016. And the rest is kind of history.
Wow. Well, obviously the big news right now is Britney's book, The Woman in Me, is being turned into a biopic, and everyone is talking about who should play Britney Spears. Have you been contacted at all by producers, and would you even want that role?
I have not been contacted yet. I am available. And, it would be such an honor to portray Britney since, I have been an impersonator of Britney Spears for several years now, traveling the country, performing at weddings and birthdays and casinos and drag shows, and most recently a TV show. And it would be an absolute dream to be able to portray Britney on the big screen. It's actually kind of crazy that Britney and I have very similar body dimensions. We're the
Mhm.
same height. We have a similar torso.
Hmm.
And both being professional dancers, I think it would be a good fit. I would absolutely be honored to portray Britney on the screen. Yeah.
And you have all the costumes too, and the dances, so that helps.
Yeah, I have over 30 costumes of her. A lot of them are handmade by me, but some of them are professionally
Hmm.
made by professionals. And yeah, I know like over 10 of her dances and learning more as we speak. So I think it would be a fun, even if, I feel like a lot of the Hollywood girlies might get the role, but if they need like a body double or like a
Oh.
dancer to do the dancing part, I would I'm available. Call me.
We're totally rooting for you to get the role, obviously.
Yeah.
But if it did come down to, Britney wanting to choose someone from the Hollywood scene, who do you think would be best for that role?
I think we all want Britney to play Britney.
Yeah.
She even said herself, I'm not dead yet. Like, why is everyone making, documentaries about me? I'm not dead yet. And hopefully, so they say she is involved in this one. So hopefully
Right.
that's true. And, there's been a lot of fan casting of like Sydney Sweeney and who is it? Even Tinashe. Who are the other ones? Like
Millie Bobby Brown,
Millie Bobby Brown,
Emma
right? Millie Bobby Brown.
Roberts.
I heard yesterday that over 300 girls have actually tried out for the role so far, which is insane. Right. I was like, of course they would. It's Britney Spears. What do you expect? But I think whoever they choose, I feel like they're going to do a great job with it.
Do you think the role, at any point, do you think the role should be played by an unknown actress, like someone that maybe doesn't have a name yet that
Yeah, they kind of
could
did
come
that
up?
with the Lifetime movie. Remember, they did a Lifetime biopic on Britney, and they kind of had like an unknown actress. Do you think that's better fit than picking like a megastar?
I would like to see an unknown actress, just because I feel like trying to put a famous actress who may or may not look like Britney, dance like Britney, look like, body look like Britney, into the Britney role just because she has, fame and clout and previous, movie experience. I think it might be kind of forced. So I think trying to find somebody, even if it is an unknown, or maybe somebody from Broadway would be a good pick, somebody that has like stage experience. Because let's be honest, she's not a movie star, although she did Crossroads. She's a stage performer. So it's a little bit of a different role than an actor, on a
she
movie.
did. She started out on Broadway too, before the Mickey Mouse Club. So it's a good throwback.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, since the biopic was announced, actually, first, let me start with this. I saw an article that you make about $35,000 a year from your impersonation of Britney Spears. Have you seen a spike in bookings since the biopic announcement?
So to start off with that, the articles that were written about me that threw those numbers around were actually not correct. The clickbait titles did not tell the truth. I will just say that.
Are you making more or less?
The titles had said I make $3,000 a show. I don't actually make that much per show. I mean, I think the client might pay that much, but I don't make that much. So just to clarify that, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, she must be like rich. I'm not yet. Working on it.
Maybe if you get the role.
Maybe if I get the role, right? Yeah. But yeah, I absolutely have seen an upswing in gigs. Every time Britney's in the news, I feel like people are just reminded of how much they love her and, how much they love her art. And I'm so honored and grateful to be able to have the ability to spread her light and her sparkle and her charisma and her dancing and her costumes and her performance with the people that love her. So yeah, I definitely see an upswing in bookings, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for it.
And you said you did a TV show recently. What was the show? Can you share?
I can. It finally aired.
Ooh.
We filmed it in 2022, so it was actually a while ago. So when it came out this year, it was a little cringe. I was like, "Oh, that's the old me." It was on Fox. It's called I Can See Your Voice.
Ooh.
Season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the finale. I did play a Britney impersonator. Yeah, it was super cute. The theme was Las Vegas. So I think it was like anybody that had a residency in Las Vegas was on the show, or the whatever music they played. So Britney was one of them. And it was really fun. I had a great time doing it. I will say though, just like I was saying earlier, it is a little bit different from performing on stage versus being on camera. And it was terrifying, but exciting and a really big learning experience. The one thing that was really hard about it was I was not in full control of my own hair and makeup.
Oh no.
So, I know.
Well, I'm sure you look great.
It was fine. Wasn't my best work, but at least I got to do it. And I'm so grateful for Britney for giving me these opportunities. So thank you, Britney. I love you.
Have you met Britney before? And if you haven't, what would you say to her?
I have not met Britney. Well, I take that back. I've met her in my dreams like 3 times.
Ah.
And it always goes wrong. I'm always like trying to show her a picture of me as Britney, and it's like some weird picture where my head's all deformed and the lighting is really bad. And I'm like, I swear to God, I swear I did a good job. I swear. I haven't met her. But if I were to meet her, what I would want to say to her is, this is gonna make me cry actually.
Aw.
I hope you know how much you are loved. I hope you know how much of an impact you've had on all the little girls growing up in the Y2K era and beyond. And I just hope you know that we love you so much. And F the haters, you know?
I love that. I love it. So sweet. Well, Allegra, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate, or should I say Britney Toxic? Thank you for joining us.
So great to meet
Thanks for having
you.
me.
Wait, actually,
Yeah,
but
thank you.
before we let you go, can you sing a little something for us?
Don't judge me, okay? Okay.
We won't.
I used to think that I had the answers to everything. Love, but now I know that life doesn't always go my way. Yeah, I've seen so much more than you know now. So don't tell me to shut my eyes. I'm not a girl.
Woo! Wow, that was really good. I loved it. You literally are her. It's so crazy.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Oh
Thank
my
you guys so much.
gosh, I can't. So good. So
To a
good.
T.
They gotta call you, girl.
Yeah, call me. I'm available. Thank you.
So good. All right, Allegra, thank you again for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for watching at home. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.